Hello everyone, this is the 8th video of my database management systems practical video series. Today I am going to do the 8th video of the second day, and let's go to the question list. Okay, you can see here's the 8th question in the second day. I'm going to select that question. Here's the question. I'm going to read it first and then let's answer for this question. To facilitate the business of Max Mobile, the owner of the mobile phone company uses a computer software which uses the following table to store the data in that computer software. Answer the question asked in this table. Okay. Here are two tables called customer and product. Let's see what are the questions or what are the steps we have to follow in order to answer to this question. Create a table named mshop to save data in mobile phone shop. Okay, we have to create the database first. I'm going to do that first, and in this video I'm also going to use the HeidiSQL Heidi browser. This is the database we created in the previous video. I'm going to create a new database. In order to do that, you have to right click on the connection. Here's the connection, and right click on the connection and create table, create database. Okay, here is the window. We have to name the database we are going to create. I'm going to name it mshop. Okay, in order to create this database, you have to press the OK button. Okay, you can see the database is created. I'm going to refresh the database list by press the refresh button. Let's find our database. Here's the mshop, and let's go to the question. Here's the second part. We completed the first one. Here's the second one. Create a table as customer and product in the database. Follow the instructions below. Okay, we have to create two tables in our database. Here are the first one, customer, and here are the attributes in that inside that table. Here's the first one, customer ID. It's also going to be the primary key, and here's the data type of the customer ID, varchar. That means it's going to store string values in it, and here's the length. That means it's going to store a string value up to 10 characters in a single cell, and here's the other attributes: first name, last name, gender, contact number. Okay, that's the customer table, and here's the product table. In the product table, here are the attributes. So first one is product ID, and it's also going to be the primary key. Here are the data type, varchar, and here's the length 10, and here are the other attributes: brand name, model name, and price. I'm going to create the first table here, the customer table. Let's go to the Heidi browser. When you are creating a table inside a database, you have to right click on the database, the specific database, not on the connection to our database. Just right click on the database and click on the create new table. Okay, here's the here we have to name our table. I'm going to name it customer, and I'm going to assign I'm going to define the attributes. Here's the first one, customer ID, and I'm going to change the data type to varchar. Okay, here's the length. It's going to be the length of 10. Okay, and here's our first attribute, and we have to define this attribute as the primary key. So I'm going to define the primary key. When you are defining any key into attribute, you have to right click on that attribute and then create new index, and then I'm going to click on the primary key. So you can see this attribute defined as the primary key. You can see the golden key symbol here, and I'm going to change the default value to no default value. Okay, here we completed our first attribute, and then let's see other attributes. Sorry, here are the other attributes: first name, last name, gender, contact number. First name, last name, gender, contact number. Okay, here I'm going to change the data type of these two attributes, first name and last name, to 45 of length, and other lengths are okay, and all the attributes are not going to store any value in default by default when we are not going to insert any data. Okay, here we complete our table called customer, and then I'm going to create this table by click on the save button. Okay, here we created our first table customer, and here are the attributes in that table. Okay, let's create the other table. Like the first one, we have to right click on the database name and then create new table. Okay, let's name our table. Here's the table product, and here's the first attribute, product ID, and I'm going to change the data type to varchar and change the length to 10, and assign this attribute as primary key. Here I assign this attribute as primary key and change the default value to no default value. Okay, our primary key attribute is complete, and let's create our other attributes: brand name, model number, and price. Okay, brand name, model number, and price. Okay, let me see the data type. All the data the types are varchar, and only the price is in double. Okay, I'm going to change the data type of price to double, and then change this length two lengths to 45. Okay, and then change the default value of the price to no default value. Okay, here we completed our second table called product, and I'm going to create this table by click on the save button. Okay, we created the other table called product successfully. You can see the attributes here. Okay, here we completed our second part of the question, and here's the third one: add data graphically to the table you have created. Okay, here are the data we have to enter to that table graphically. That means we don't have to use queries like these queries. We don't have to use this kind of queries. We can just graphically enter data like this. So I'm going to enter the details by using these data given to us, but this clip will be fast forwarded because otherwise that will make you bored.
Exaggerated, that's what you assume. The story's over now, I must conclude. I am conflicted, watching where I step still, hanging in the balance, not the life I want to live. I want to take it all, standing tall, fear I weighed the person you are. Oh, break out.
Okay, here I insert all the data into our tables, two tables, and let's go to the question. Here we completed our third part of the question. Add data graphically to the tables you have created. We complete that. Find all customers. Okay, we have to find all customers. In this case, we have to use a query. Specifically a select query. The select queries are used to search our data in our databases, and I'm going to do that now. We are in the query tab. You can see we are in the query tab. I'm going to write a select query in order to see, or in order to watch the details of our customers. Okay. In this case, we have to define the select keyword select. First, select asterisk. When we use this mark, the asterisk is going to show all the data belongs to, or we can say all the attributes belongs to our table. So I'm going to use this first, select asterisk from. Here we have to define the here we have to mention the database name and the table name. We are going to show database mshop, mshop is the mshop, and the table we want to view the customer details. So here's the table customer, and I'm going to execute this query. You can see all the details of our customers are shown in the in this area when we execute our query. So if you want only the first name and the last name of our customers, you just have to mention the attributes you want to select. Like here I'm going to use the gray accent. You have to always use gray accent when you are mentioning a attribute. Gray accent first name, and here I separated the two attributes by using a comma. In this way you can select as many attributes as you want and last name. Okay, I'm going to execute this query. You can see only the first name and the last name attribute are shown in the result. Here's the result, and only the first name and the last name of the customers are shown in this result. So we complete our fourth part of the question, and here's the fifth one. Find details of all products. Okay, we have to write another select query in order to view the product. So we have to, in this case we have to view all the data, all the details in the product table. So I'm going to write select asterisk. I'm using asterisk mark because we want all the details from here. I'm going to mention the database name mshop, and here's the table product. Okay, here's the end of the query. I defined it by using a semicolon, and here I'm going to execute this query. You can see all the data are shown in the result belongs to the product table. Okay, here we complete our fifth part, and here's the last one. Find the details of the customer whose customer ID is CUS003. Okay, we have to find a specific customer and view his details. So in order to do that, we have to change this select query. Let me clear this query completely, and I will write a new query. We have to write another select query. Select asterisk from I'm going to mention the database and the table. We need the details belong to the mshop database and the table customer. Now I'm going to define the specific user. I'm going to mention the specific user by calling his customer ID. Here I'm going to use the keyword where. When you are mentioning a specific detail, you have to use where. Now I'm going to specify the attribute where customer ID. Here's the customer table, customer ID. Here's the attribute name. You have to enter the attribute name first. Cus ID is the attribute, and we want to want the details of the customer whose customer ID is CUS003. Okay, here's the customer. I'm going to copy the customer ID and put that in the query. Here the user in the where customer ID equal this ID CUS003. Okay, here's our query, and I'm going to execute this query. You can see the data belongs to the user whose customer ID is customer 003 is shown in this result. Okay, now we complete all the parts of our question, and question 8 is complete. So let's meet in the next video, and thank you for watching.